So you filled out your long-term goals sheet and your routines sheet. Now it's time to dive into the weekly planning portion of the planner. Weekly planning should typically be done at the end of the week when you're ready to start thinking about the next week. I recommend you do your weekly planning session on Sunday evening. So if you would like to do your weekly planning session along with me in this video, you can pause the video where it's at right now and pull it up again on Sunday night when it's time to plan for next week. All right, let's say it's Sunday night now, and let's start our weekly planning. I've broken down weekly planning itself into 3 steps. Step 1 of weekly planning is to go to your calendar sheet, or sheet D, and write down any already scheduled obligations you have for next week in the calendar section. You can be as detailed as you want here, but I typically don't write in absolutely everything I need to do for the week or things that I already do every day. Just write in there important appointments or things that you might forget or special one-time events. Examples might be activities or trips you have planned, meetings with people, or sometimes recurring weekly obligations. Writing down your obligations for this week will help you discover your priorities for the week, which is step 2 in weekly planning. So now go ahead and open up the planner so you can see the weekly priorities and goals sheet side by side with the calendar sheet. So now you know your long-term goals as well as your scheduled obligations for the week, so you will now know what your priorities for the week are. Choose up to 6 areas of your life to write down as a priority for the week, and write down some goals for the week pertaining to those priorities underneath them. These goals should be more broad about what you want to achieve for your priorities and less of a to-do list. For example, instead of writing, "Create a presentation for my meeting on Wednesday" under the work priority, write, "Be completely ready for my meeting on Wednesday." Specific to-dos for the week will be written down later. The third and final step for your weekly planning session is to now go back to the calendar again, or sheet D. Now that you know your priorities for the week, you can fill out the rest of this sheet. Write down your to-dos for the week at the bottom of the page, based on your weekly goals and priorities. You can also add any repeating tasks to the Dailies section that you want to give extra notice to or keep track of separately from your to-dos or routines. For example, it's important to me that I go to the gym every single day, so I will add that as one of my dailies. You could also add things that you don't quite do every day, but often throughout the week. For example, if you take medication that needs to be administered 3 times per week, you could add that to your Monday, Wednesday, and Friday dailies. After you write down your to-dos and dailies, add any additional calendar items you would like to add for the week that weren't already scheduled obligations. These can be to-dos that you'd like to schedule into your week or other tasks that are included in your priorities. Again, you don't need to schedule out absolutely every hour of your day here. The daily planning sheet is better for that. Instead, mostly write down important time commitments or obligations here. Make sure, once your week starts, that you check off your dailies and cross out any to-dos that you've accomplished. Again, I recommend that you tear these sheets out of your planner and hang them on your wall. Seeing them will remind you that you have this system to help you stay on track, and it will make it easier for you to remember to check things off and cross things out. And that's it for the weekly planning portion of the planner. Be sure to check out example sheets C and D on pages 11 and 12 for some examples on how your weekly planning sheets might look. There's only one more part of the planner to go over, and that's the daily planning portion of the planner on sheet E. We'll cover that in the next video. See you there.